What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro, Dude, and Sam. We drafted our fantasy teams on Underdog last night. How are you feeling about your squad heading into this season?
I was just looking around and I was thinking he hate me. That's how I feel right now. Like this is like
All my Rod Smart shit.
yeah, like for real. I don't see a way my team loses a single game this year. I want to be honest. I feel pretty good about. I feel really bad about some of my other fantasy teams. I'm not even a football guy, and I'm in 4 fantasy leagues. Like,
Let's go.
I don't need that.
You're just so popular. You have to,
It's a social obligation. Like, I don't even want to do this, like I hate it so much. Everyone wants me in their league. They're like, Sam, come on in. You're one of the worst fantasy football players we've ever seen. We need someone to pad.
We will take your money.
Tier. Yeah. We need someone to pad out this bottom tier. I can't tell you how often I'm doing the pancake punishments in the IHOP where you have to spend 12 hours there, but every pancake is 30 minutes off your sentence. You ever done one of those? That's where I'm at. That's me.
We're only a few years away from Sam's podcast apology tour where he lied about being in the Twin Towers on 9/11. On your Steve Ranazizi.
Yeah, I'm really on my Steve R shit for real. That's such an awesome thing to lie about, man. That's so cool.
It's so funny to me that like you finally get your breakthrough. Mm-hmm. Your career is headed in the right path. You're like a stand-up comedian who's on a very popular cultish show, but still had like 7 seasons. Yeah. And then this lie that you told when you were like probably 23 years old or something. No, he must have been older. He must have been like 30 because he was in the Twin Towers on 9/11, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, unless he was like a baby.
No, I think he told it like a few years after 9/11. That was the thing.
So yeah, he had to have,
we've gotten into this.
So he had to have been because then he must have been like in his 20s because he probably said it when he was like 23 or something like that.
Yeah, he probably was like, it was my first job out of college or whatever. Right. And then 9/11 happened and
I was at 9/11. As to say, like it's like the Mark Wahlberg thing.
No, it's like my dad's generation. I was at Woodstock.
Oh yeah, no. Instead of Grandpa telling you he walked up hills to work every day, both ways. It was uphill both ways. As 9/11 happened on both ends of the day. Every day I'd go into the office, 9/11 was happening. Every time I would come home, 9/11 was happening. That's just kind of how my generation lived, but we're different. Yeah,
I looked it up. He's 46, so you were right. He would have been like 23 or 24 when 9/11 happened. He probably told the lie when he was like 24, but 25 maybe.
I mean, look, I'm just gonna say, like, if that's like right in that is like the peak of male stupidity, though. I gotta say,
yeah,
like people say, like men are at their stupidest when they're like 14 to like 18, like when you're like in high school. That not true. Like fresh out of college is the absolute dumbest you are, like as a human man. So like I could see him like being like looking around and like seeing everyone like being important about this, be like, I could get a girlfriend like this. I could get a girlfriend if I was in this. Yeah, and just being like, all right, it's time to.
No, the best part about the story is I actually listened to a podcast where he talked about it, and he said his now wife was like they were already dating, and that she actually
was one of the hijackers. That's how they met. That'd be a good stand-up bit.
she worked at the like in the financial district near where it happened. Mm-hmm. And he told this to impress other comedians is basically what he said. He had just moved to LA and people asked like, oh my God, were you like what? He was like, yeah, I was there. And he's like, oh no. Yeah. Oh, I had to lie about this for 12 years now.
I'm sorry. That's such a funny lie to like get caught into.
It's
like
so good, dude.
To have everyone like find out. I mean, I feel kind of bad because it's like that Felix joke he always tells about saying that like his house burned down or like that he has kids. It's like the next version, like a really tall building burned down with me in it. But did it burn down because jet fuel can't burn hot enough to get through some of the steel beams? But I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. All I'm saying is they found Muhammad Atta's passport on the top of the rubble. You come to your own conclusions, folks.
Let's go.
I hate when I hijack a plane and run it into a building and my passport falls perfectly on top of the rubble.
It was like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, like when like something hits like a bunch of times, it like flew out the window, hit another piece of debris. Because it took how many hours? It was like an hour and a half after the plane hit too. So it's just like bouncing around, figuring out things for like 2 hours.
God, yeah. Yeah, that is so fucking funny. When I heard that, I was like, "What?" yeah. The only NBA podcast that will open 6 minutes in will still be talking about 9/11, and will convince you that it was an inside job.
Yeah, we're gonna need new material at some point. I'm gonna start talking about Mandalay Bay at some point.
Yeah, we need a new tragedy.
Yeah, we really like,
jump onto.
Like, why was his brother arrested all of a sudden when he was making questions? It's very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know.
You got to ask these questions. But, speaking of 9/11, Cooper Kupp is out for week 1. So, not great for me and my fantasy team. Obviously, I took him in the later rounds on Underdog, promo code Slop. I took him on Underdog because he fell to like the 3rd or 4th round. And he's got that upside, baby. Cooper Kupp. The Rams really suck this year. He also, if he does get healthy, at some point might get traded because that team sucks so much. So, at least
it's a best ball league. It's a best ball league. Like, you don't even if you miss him 1 week, the ad you get like in the rest of the like aggregate, like the rest of the season, like, gonna be really good. So I mean, that's how I felt about taking the Colts running back. I took him in pretty much every league. I know he probably won't play for 4 weeks, but if Jonathan Taylor comes back, like,
you're golden, baby.
Yeah, I'm cooking with gas. So
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same position with Cooper Kupp. If you can hear this episode before Thursday, you can still go on and do best ball for the entire season on Underdog. They also have Pick'em up on there right now. I'm going to pull up some Pick'em. They have a Patrick Mahomes pick, which is all Patrick Mahomes has to do is get above 0.5 yards. So that's a gimme. So that is an absolute shoo-in for tomorrow night. So if you're listening to this or watching this before the Thursday night game, go on Underdog, use the promo code SLOP, get a $100 deposit match, and we're going to make one pick here, Sam. So is there anyone that you feel strongly about?
I just saw Joe Burrow with 233 yards higher. Was that what I saw for his yardage? 266. That's like in a shootout. Like, even if the Chiefs kill them,
it's not the Chiefs. They're playing Cleveland.
Oh, they're playing Cleveland. Never mind.
Kansas City and Detroit.
It's Kansas City and Detroit. Okay, never mind. What's Jared Goff's yardage?
All right, let's check out Jared Goff's. We'll do it for the opening night game here.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a lot of options on here, folks. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery.
260 for Jared Goff. That's pretty good, man. I feel like that's a you can kind of lock that in because the Lions are going to be getting their ass beat in, and garbage time Jared Goff is going to get like 100 yards in like the last half of the fourth quarter when the Chiefs don't care anymore, and he's just whipping the ball down the field. So
sweet. So, all right. So, on that one, you can put $10 on there, and you can win 30 on Underdog today. So go on, use the promo code SLOP, get your free pick with Patrick Mahomes. Go higher on Jared Goff's passing yards, 260. And then you can do this all throughout the NFL season. You can also do best ball, as we said before, which is a season-long fantasy draft. They also do it every single week. So check that out if you have not already. It supports the program. So, Sam, we have some real slop. We had all of a sudden, we had months of nothing. Like, we were hearing, you hear rumors here and there, but there was no solid slop, no signings, no trades. And then in one night, we get a few pieces of news, and we also didn't get a chance to react to some things that happened recently as well regarding NBA transactions with, both
our teams.
Both of our teams. Yeah, exactly. So the big signing that I'm obviously referring to is the Sixers signing David Duke to an Exhibit 10 contract.
I'm annoyed that I forgot to just open the podcast with saying, Trill, do you endorse David Duke and everything he's done?
It's unbelievable that, first off, obviously I was talking about the Sixers signing Danny Green, but it's unbelievable that this guy who they asked him about it, like, are you aware of the other David Duke? He was like, yeah, I'm aware. And he basically word for word gave the Office Space, he's the one who sucks response regarding Michael Bolton.
Right.
David, why should I change my name? But David Duke Jr., and please say the Jr., to quote Lil Wayne and Chance the Rapper. But I think that the Sixers actually, beyond the controversial signing of David Duke, who's in his 70s now, I don't really think he's going to be able to contribute to the Sixers next year. But speaking of old guys they signed, they did bring back Danny Green, which I'm going to be honest, when that news came through, I totally forgot Danny Green didn't retire.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't process that either. I thought he was on the Cavs for some reason.
He was. Okay. So he went traded. The Sixers traded him for DeAnthony Melton on draft night in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Rockets traded for him in the Eric Gordon trade. They rerouted Luke Kennard to the Grizzlies with some second round picks. Danny Green goes to Houston. He gets waived. And then he actually was choosing between signing with the Celtics or the Cavs. And he signed with the Cavs. And the last thing I remember hearing about from Danny Green was that when he was on the team, he was like, yeah, I didn't really know like my role. I didn't know like if I was ever going to get minutes. Like it was basically kind of a mess is what he was trying to say. And in defense of Danny, I mean, I think he's 35 going, I think it'll be 36 soon. In defense of Danny, he's old. And also he was coming off of a torn ACL that he had torn during the Sixers Heat series a year before. And as our friend Bill Simmons loves to say, it's a 2-year injury. So if Danny Green does have anything left in the tank, I would imagine that he'll probably start to show it at some point this season as we get closer to that 2-year anniversary. Because even like Jamal Murray really popped in the playoffs in a way that we hadn't seen from him in quite some time. And it was about 2 years since his ACL injury.
Yeah, no. And, you know, on top of that too, I think, you know, Danny Green, even for as old as he is, you forget that he like didn't get like real NBA miles on him until like, he was what, like 26
or like something 24, I think.
He was like bouncing around for a fucking while and like on practice squads and shit like that. So like, you know, it's not like he's got all this, like, it's not like he's LeBron, you know what I'm saying? With all this like NBA wear and tear on him, you know, like, I mean, he was playing in like other leagues and like G League games and stuff like that, but it's not the same.
Yeah. I think he really popped like not 2011, 2010.
Yeah.
Like, and he was a 4-year college guy too. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm sure he's had a ton of NBA minutes,
right?
But like, yeah, I mean, you look at the last few seasons, even when he was getting up there in age for the Sixers, he played 62 games, 69 games. The Lakers, he played 68. Toronto, he played 80. And keep in mind, some of those were shortened seasons. But the thing with this signing that was so funny to me was because, one, I had forgot Danny Green was in the NBA. And two, I think it's less about like we need a wing who can just like survive, even though that is very much the case for this Sixers roster. And it's probably more about like we're going to have a lot of shit again because of the James Harden situation. And it's good to have a familiar face who has a good relationship with the best player and Tyrese Maxey and is well liked in locker rooms and, you know, has a past history with Nick Nurse. More so than, hey, we need a guy who's legitimately going to give us like 20 minutes a game. I don't know if Danny Green even has that level left in him. That's probably the most you could ever hope for him if he can crack the rotation.
And vibes vets are important Blake Griffin, great vibes vet for the Celtics last year. Would love to have Blake Griffin back. He was great for just hanging out and, it was like Blake Griffin was stuck with all the Celtics bad players, Reed's white guys, and they had to just had their own little like thing going on. He kept the locker room on a swivel. So
he's a comedian, so he's good for the vibes.
He was on Broad City. People forget that.
People forget the greatest cameo of his comedy career. Yeah. Matt Del Rio came on here once and did a bit about Blake Griffin being a comedy act that you go see, and it's just like, come watch this tall man, like in a transatlantic accent. Like, look at the tall man. He's tall. Come out to the Bell House in Brooklyn.
I was gonna say, if he's got to be nicer to Lana Rhodes, because Blake, come on, man, we all know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but outside of that, really enjoyed Blake. That's the only thing he's ever done wrong in my mind. So let's go. He's perfect angel outside of being very rude to that porn star. So get it together. Blake.
But I did see some people. It's very funny because we've now reached the point with Sixers fans and the Sixers where anything they do is going to be absolutely eviscerated by not even just Sixers fans, mostly Sixers fans, but everyone on Twitter. And
it's such a bummer that the Phillies are like good and the Eagles are like Super Bowl favorites, and like it's like the Sixers social media person is gonna be like, come on, man, like they can't be bad, like come on, like it'd be one thing if it was bad, but like Philly has this whole like city of champions thing going on, like right now, like outside of the Flyers, the other 4 teams are really good supposedly, but then like the Sixers are like the nobody believes in us. Like, you tricked us too many times.
Sure. Yeah.
You said during the draft that they're the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA, and that's absolutely true. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Every year, Charlie Brown with the football. Are we gonna fall for it again?
Yeah.
And that's the case. Honestly, they're probably lucky because during Eagles and Philly season, especially when the Phillies made that run in the playoffs deep last year, and I don't think the Eagles lost the game until like week 7 or 8 last year. It's a good thing for the Sixers in the beginning of the season because then less people care about the team, more people can focus on. And by the time they got their shit together in January and February, the Eagles were obviously making their Super Bowl run and the Sixers had kind of course corrected. So people were back on board before yet another playoff collapse. But all of this brings me back to say that people were eviscerating this move on social media. It's like you said, you need locker room vets, and you also need guys that are just like willing to accept whatever role you give them, because at this point in the offseason, first off, his contract isn't fully guaranteed. They said there's a high chance he makes the roster. He's going to battle for a spot in training camp. I'm sure he'll make the team, but in case they make a Harden trade or there's some other move they want to make, they do have some flexibility in terms of, okay, we could always waive Danny Green if we need to, if he's just fully done and he can't really contribute, and he might even have to retire. But the thing that I'm kind of going back to here is like there are guys that are on the market right now that might be a better fit for what the Sixers need next year. Like, I don't know, maybe Kelly Oubre or Edmund Sumner or one of these random guys that you can get right now in free agency. But also, as we know, and as we see every year, there are certain guys that think very highly of themselves. They want a certain amount of shots. They want a defined role on a team. And right now, even though the Sixers aren't a deep team, they can't just guarantee anyone minutes that, that they could possibly sign off the street. So I'm fine with the move. Like I said, I think it's more of a veterans vibes presence than anything else. I don't really think you can go out there and sign someone who you'd have to guarantee 20 minutes a game to. And if you don't have it, that guy's pissed, and then you piss off an agent and blah, blah, blah. It's just more complicated than that. And like at this point, the Sixers kind of fuck themselves by not making the Harden move or any other meaningful moves, because now every move is just going to be seen as, oh, who gives a fuck? So it could be worse than let's bring in a guy who's liked in the locker room. Let's bring in a guy who's been on championship teams, and let's bring in a guy who could maybe theoretically contribute if he can ever get healthy. But even though now the Sixers are the oldest, slowest, and least athletic team in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, that's the tough. I mean, like if you're, because we both agree that Daryl Morey is just kind of, he's quiet quitting, let's say, on this season. He's basically punting for like either a rebuild or some sort of free agent coup in next offseason, basically. So like, I think this is a good way to kind of sneak under the radar, try to like just keep it alive, make round two. And, who knows if like Joel's really healthy and you get the right matchups, I think the Sixers could be in the conference finals again, to be honest. Like I think, or again, could make the conference
first time
finals.
since 2001, baby.
Yeah.
I think more recently the Kings have made it.
Yeah, that God. Is that true?
That's the Dallas Cowboys comp, really, for me.
Yeah.
The Cowboys haven't made the conference finals since like 97, I think.
Is that true? That's crazy.
Hold
dude.
on. Let's see. Last Cowboys conference. It's funny because you look it up and you say, oh, Super Bowl. Super Bowl was 1995.
Yeah, I was gonna say the early 90s they won like 3 or 2 or whatever it was. Like so yeah, man, that is true because I just think about Tony Romo and the botch snap and the God,
they've had opportunities. The Dez dropped it game, which was bullshit. Honestly, they got fucked in that game.
Yeah,
totally.
They really did. Yeah.
The Dez dropped it, and then more recently, 2 straight years that they've lost in the playoffs, not being able to get a playoff on the last play of the game and time running out. It's unbelievable. I love Mike McCarthy so much. I think he should get a lifetime extension.
So if it weren't for the fact that Cowboys are like barely above Patriots fans in terms of like the orc to human spectrum, like the most orcish like sports fans are Patriots fans, but like Cowboys fans are right there too. Like they are like, if it weren't for them being evil, I would feel very bad for them going from Jason Garrett to fucking Mike McCarthy. Like that's brutal.
They're basically like if you removed the Lakers' last 5 championships.
Yeah.
Like how the Lakers, if they're either really good or they winning finals or they suck. I would imagine it's kind of similar when you think about just the kind of people that root for those teams.
Yeah.
One of my favorite old Twitter bits was Rob Wisman's Lakers fan throws Yankees hat at Cowboys poster on the wall.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's so perfect.
But at least the Lakers win a championship or get to the conference finals every once in a while. Once again, the Cowboys are like the Sixers in that everyone is picking them as their sexy pick to win the Super Bowl this year, and I just think it's hilarious. Until Mike McCarthy's done, I just will never. It's not even the team. I think the team's very good, and I think Dax, if anything, he might have become a little bit underrated because he shit the bed in the playoffs again. But Mike McCarthy's a bozo, and he's going to be calling the plays.
That's so bad, man. That's like Bill Belichick, like who's like historically one of the greatest coaches of all time. He does that, and I want to send him to the glue factory. There's no history. It's like this man won 6 titles. I don't give a shit. Fire his ass. He's so bad. That's how it feels to be a sports fan. I can't wait to watch the Patriots. Watching the Patriots go 7-10 now is like feels really good. I gotta admit, because like even though it's like very frustrating as a fan, I get to watch like the fans that like come into the Celtics season in like January and February and make me miserable. I get to watch them be miserable, so it's like very, very cathartic for me.
Unfortunately, I don't have the same luck with Eagles fans here. They all are just like sending threats on the timeline and like I genuinely think they're gonna do like a financial boycott of the Sixers this year, just completely giving the organization no money or attention at all.
Well, I mean, Eagles fans are like a totally different. Like, I mean, they are the true believers. Like, they would do the human wave attacks. Like, if it was like Eagles fans versus like Swifties, I don't know, like that would be a war that would burn the world down. Like,
well, Taylor Swift is a huge Eagles fan because
that's true.
She's from here. Remember?
Right. That's right.
She's definitely not from Wyomissing, which is an hour away.
Yeah,
she's from here, and she watched the Eagles games growing up, so she's a lifelong fan.
Lifelong Eagles fan.
So we're on the same side. We would never fight the Swifties.
That's true. I was gonna say that's gonna be the bones of the new Imperium. When we run out of water and we're like reorienting around the Great Lakes as like the only fresh water available. Like when the Philadelphia Army mobilizes to annex Ohio to get that sweet water. That's going to be the bulkhead will be Eagles fans and
Taylor Swift fans coming together. Yeah, Eagles, Steelers, and Taylor Swift fans all.
Grand Viceroy Taylor ordering her activating. She's going to write an album called "The Blood of Ohioans" is pretty good. All the Swifties will be on TikTok like, she wants us to kill Ohio people. It's that easy. It's, okay, yeah, we got to do that.
She doesn't know the power she has.
Like people laugh. I think when we're like 60, there's like an outside chance Taylor Swift like runs for office. We're like heading in that direction. So
no, all of our future politicians will just be celebrities from. Like Trump started the trend. I guess Reagan technically started the trend, but at a certain point, that will definitely be the case. I do.
Got Jack Antonoff in the cabinet. I'm thinking about Jack Antonoff being the Secretary of War. It's like very funny.
I always think about kind of Jack Antonoff.
This would be such a shitty Kissinger. God damn it! I hate him even more now.
You've compared him to Kissinger before, so
the two people I hate most in the world, equally evil people, Jack Antonoff and Henry Kissinger.
Satire. But
not satire.
I do think about I've thought about this with celebrities before, where like I can't imagine being so famous that when you die, like when John Lennon was killed, there's like if you look on the Wikipedia page. There were reports of like 4 Beatles fans who killed themselves after John Lennon died. And I'm like, just imagine being so powerful and famous. And I used to use Justin Bieber as the example because this was like 10 years ago. Yeah. But now it would definitely be like Taylor Swift or someone in that ilk.
Beyonce. I think
Beyonce, sure. Yeah. Someone of that level of fame where if you die, that there are multiple people that also take their own life.
If you built Beyonce or Taylor Swift like a pyramid or a tomb, like there would be hundreds of people who would volunteer to be sealed in there with them. Like
exactly, they're like cat.
Yeah, they're patriarchal honor guard, like their honor guard to guard over them as they sleep. Like that would absolutely happen. I would do that for Japanese video game creator Kaz Kadaka whenever he pays. So but that's literally just be me. Yeah, that won't be hundreds of people. That'll literally just be me and his family are like, you have to leave the wedding. You have to leave this funeral. We're like telling you. And I can't speak Japanese, so I'm just smiling. Can I go in there? I'm just trying to hop in the coffin. His family's pulling me out over and over again. No, he made Danganronpa. I want to just stay with him. Come on,
man. You really are. You might be the whitest man alive because you're a Boston fan who is obsessed with Japanese culture, and I've heard both Boston and Japan be called white man Wakanda before.
On top of that, like my big thing I did in my 20s was I would go around going to indie music shows. So it's like Bon Iver was like my jam. It's like the National. It's like, yeah, I really am like a different stereotype. Yeah, it's like, man, we're gonna have to kill me like Randall Flagg. It's like when Captain Trips. It's like the end of Stand. Like I am like personified evil at this point. We've got to cut me down or rally everyone in Las Vegas. Yeah.
I love Offseason podcasts.
Yeah, it's awesome. We got a half hour with one Danny Green news bite.
Well, yeah, we talked about Danny for a little bit. I'm fine with it. I'm looking forward to the return of Inside the Green Room, which I don't think it will get broadcast on television here anymore, but I'm sure. My favorite, Danny is very much the opposite of the thing we always talk about with like Cade Cunningham and Jason Tatum and how they're all like, yes, I like to sit indoors and eat my plain hamburger on Saturdays, and I drink it with a big glass of water. That's what I do on my weekends, Adrian Wojnarowski. Danny Green is on his podcast like, yeah, no, it's the locker room's a complete shit show. No one respects the coach. Like, we're going to at least get some good gossip out of Danny Green's return at a bare minimum, because he does say it like it is. Wow, I just realized as I was saying this. The Sixers have, two of the three biggest NBA podcasters on the team now? I think Paul George is the only other one with a podcast that is...
Draymond.
Oh, Draymond, 4. Okay, so Pat Bev's got to be top 3 at this point.
Yeah, of active players, definitely.
Yeah. So it's Pat Bev. So if we were to go like popularity and like impact, it would probably be, I think Paul George is 1 now. I feel like
he's bigger than Draymond now?
I think, well, Draymond doesn't even podcast that much anymore compared to Paul George, I feel like.
Yeah, I would say Draymond is more just like that's kind of like his radio free like after he does something.
His guerrilla radio. He's like Che Guevara.
Yeah, exactly. Like he'll hop on there like after there's been like some incident with like a bunch of people are dead. He's like, look, I had to stomp on Domantas Sabonis. Like, you know, that's like it's always like addressing an incident. Like,
yeah, exactly.
No, Paul George will get like players. Paul George, he seems to be doing like, more of a JJ Redick style. Like,
sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I forgot about JJ, but he's not.
He's not active. Yeah. Like,
so, all right, let's rank this real quick. I'd go Paul George 1, Draymond 2, Pat Bev 3, Danny Green 4. I feel like Danny doesn't really podcast as much during the summer. I know Trae Young tried to break in, but I never hear anything about his podcast.
You know who is like a star waiting to break out, and I want him to just, because he's always just a guest on podcasts and he just needs to get his own, is fucking Jeff Teague.
He has one now.
Oh, he does have one?
I
gotta listen to that. I gotta listen to that because Jeff Teague, I could listen to Jeff Teague talk. He was so charismatic. All of his stories are so fucking
insanely funny. Yeah.
He's like he's got that like storytelling thing. I don't even know what you would say, like that je ne sais quoi, like of like being able to like tell a story.
Sure.
Like just certain
we used to do around campfires. Like
that's what I'm saying. I think of like the two people I always think of as like having that like ability to just tell stories really well are Garrison Keillor and Charlie Murphy. Yeah. So like, and he's got like both of like he does have like that Garrison Keillor like matter of fact. Man, fuck you. Like I don't know. I could listen to Jeff Teague talk all day. So yeah, I'm definitely downloading the Jeff Teague podcast.
Yeah, he has a podcast, but he's also inactive. I forgot CJ McCollum had a podcast. I just looked that up. I forgot about that.
That's like when your HR department says that, like, sends out an email.
We need
like,
a podcast.
We're having a podcast. Like, we're looking for employees to hop on our team.
We're gonna talk about our culture here at the glue stick factory that we work at.
Yeah, so here at Dynamics Incorporated, we bring a lot of fun synergy, and we've got Daisy from over in finance, and she's here to tell us about a little bit of a crazy thing. You've got people designing masks. What is that? That's so crazy. That's what the CJ McCollum podcast is. It's like that for the NBA, where CJ is like, oh, I hear that Paul George, I hear that you will sometimes go out drinking. What is that like? CJ, come on, man. He's the fact that he wants to, like, when I found out CJ had like a journalism degree, like everything snapped into place about
yes.
CJ.
Oh, well, you know how I know that?
Why?
Because Bill loves him. Because Bill basically started all of CJ McCollum's media career, because going back to the 2013 draft, Bill and Jalen Rose used to do their job interview for Grantland. They would sit down with all the prospects and they would interview them. And honestly, I did think it was somewhat useful for Bill's scouting because Bill called a few guys in that draft being bust, like Shabazz Muhammad, who I believe they did interview, if I remember correctly. And he talked about how like he didn't like him on tape, but he also was like didn't really get a great interview out of him. Whereas like the guys that they interviewed and liked were like CJ McCollum, and CJ basically started his career then because Bill and Jalen really got along with him, and then from there Bill started having him on his podcast, and then he's responsible. He's basically like Oppenheimer in
he really
the chain reaction of NBA. So it's funny, Bill hates the new media, but he's the reason it started. Really,
he did that.
JJ Redick and CJ McCollum.
It's so funny because Bill is like a business, like Bill's like kind of an outside, you know what I'm saying? Like Bill is very much an outsider in terms of like, that's what made him famous, is like coming from a perspective that traditionally like didn't really have a voice. Yeah, I'm not saying that white guys from Boston didn't have a voice, but like,
no, you guys are getting deplatformed.
Yeah, exactly. But like, but Bill's like very specific.
His non-corporate speak. Fan perspective was outsider 25 years ago.
You didn't open the paper and like read, this is the guy who like got like darts thrown at him at the office party because he passed out and threw up. This is the kind of stuff that he would say, and it's like he's like really obsessed with like fucking 80s movies and stuff.
Exactly.
Like
Oh, Doc Rivers is like Matt Damon in that one scene in Rounders, like
and you can see Bill like where Bill comes from because of like Bill's like incredible nepotism, where Bill has that like very 20-something-year-old like vibe of like, man, if it was just me and my friends writing a TV show, me and my friends, our lives could be a movie, man,
Exactly.
And it's like people would love to listen to me and Joe House and Jacko shoot the shit. And like, he just made that happen. Like, and now we're stuck living in Bill's reality that he's like warped. He's kind of like Trump in that he's like forced us to live in like, he is like the world bender in terms of like making us all live in the backwash of whatever his thing is. And it's like, would Joe House be famous if he wasn't friends with Bill Simmons?
Absolutely
I don't
not.
think so. But that's what Bill has done for everyone. And I think that Bill still recognizes people like him who are able to play the game, because Bill still has like the business instincts, and he's not like, antagonistic to the system in a way, like, because that's the key, is you got to be an outsider, but also be willing to play ball. And
exactly.
Bill is good.
You can't be too outside. Like,
right. Yeah. You've got to have outside enough to have a fresh perspective, but also like, you can't, for example, start a podcast where you, right after you do your advertiser read, you do 10 minutes on 9/11 or something.
Or before it even. Lead into it with that, I would say.
Yeah. So that is, I really do feel like that's the Bill thing. But yeah, I think Bill has like kind of, empower. I don't even know if Bill is necessarily. It's more like, Bill's shown that there's a good idea on like kind of betting on some of this stuff.
Bet on yourself, if you will.
Yeah, well, exactly. No, I mean, hey, that's
unless you play for an NFL team.
Yeah.
You cannot bet on yourself.
Yeah. I always, the other thing too, is there's always like, I know people get pissed because like celebrities take all the media jobs, and it's like, well, there's all these other people who are like smarter and like better at like, doing stats and like, crunching tape and stuff like that. And these people work harder. And it's like, well, obviously that's true, but that's like, it's not how this works.
It's performance. Kendrick Perkins is entertaining. Like he might say some of the dumbest shit you've ever heard, but he's going to deliver it in a way that if someone just has ESPN on in the background, it's easy to consume.
It's Trump versus like Hillary or Elizabeth Warren, even. Like, it's like, obviously they're going to be better.
Their resume is accomplished.
For sure, absolutely. Obviously they're better, but like everyone likes seeing the dumbass like stumble into the fucking, the table and knock everything over. Like, that's awesome to everyone. So yeah.
We all love when we get a full table full of McDonald's and for the big boys.
Every once in a while, I'm just driving down the road, and people say, someone will say President Trump. I'm like, he really was president for 4 years. Yeah, it might be again. You never know.
Jesus Christ,
Teflon Don, baby.
Oh my God,
Teflon Don.
Jesus.
It'd be so funny if
how have I not heard that one before?
If he gets elected again, being like the world's most indicted man, because like he has to keep going. That's the only way he gets out from under this. Is
but he did everything right, and they indicted
me. They indicted me.
Ugh.
It really does feel like that's what's gonna happen, man. Like it really does feel like we're lining up for the Trump re-return.
Oh God,
Trump Grover Cleveland.
Oh please stop. Grover Cleveland.
we would all die, but God, they're gonna. I like it's setting up like Joe Biden keels over like down the stretch, and we're stuck running Kamala Harris against him, and it's like, hey,
God, this got very dark.
Clip this one, bud. We're gonna need this next year.
Jesus, one of Sam's predictions.
Yeah.
Except the global impact of this one is much more different than the Celtics are going to blow a 3-0 or get go down 0-3 and then come all the way back and lose in Game 7.
I caused COVID, right? Like I'm not doing a bit. Like I had I posted a video during 2019 New Year's of like it was like a joke bit. I reposted.
I saw that
thing
and I thought that it was from during COVID, and then I saw the date on it.
Yeah, no, it's from like literally New Year's night 2019, and I do this whole bit about how nothing bad will ever happen again. No one will get sick or die.
Yeah,
and like literally 2 months like literally like later that week, it's like it's called the coronavirus. Is it something that we might need to be like? I conjured that one into fucking well-being. So yeah, maybe I should stop doing.
Yes, Sam, stop doing predictions powers, please.
Chip.
Please stop. You've become too powerful.
What if once Dua Lipa becomes our third mic? There we go. Let's just put that one out there on the thing. Yeah.
One mic is all it takes. So we're finally going to get to our second topic. 42 minutes in, which is how you know we're doing great.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about Christian Wood to the Lakers, because I would imagine that the reason why this and the Danny Green news broke on the same day was that I guess it's because Danny Green was maybe holding on to, if Christian Wood goes in a different direction or there's a trade or something, I could end up on one of the LA teams is my guess. Probably the Lakers, where he's played before and he lives in the offseason, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So Christian Wood signs with the Lakers. We get that announcement just before the Danny Green signing. So this random fucking Tuesday in September, we have two random NBA transactions. But let's talk a little bit about Christian Wood, because the immediate reaction was every time the Lakers sign anyone, even if they suck, how did this happen? Oh my God, what a coup for the Lakers. Christian Wood, while completely ignoring the fact that it's September and he was still a free agent and signed a veterans minimum contract with a player option on the second year. So look, Christian Wood is a talented basketball player and certainly has skill. He can shoot. He is a good offensive player. He can, he's a good rebounder. He can do some things, certainly. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just kind of at the point with him where he might just be the poster child of like, I just don't care. Like, if he doesn't do it on this team, he's never going to do it. Like,
he's the new Greg Monroe. Like, it really is like, like he's a different type of player. He like shoots threes and everything like that, but it's the same thing where it's like, is a 2010 guy who sucks at basketball. Like it is like it's not helping your team win. Like Dallas is like desperate for help, and they let that man walk for a veterans minimum. Like that tells you everything you need to know.
Now look, he is an individual, so I can't really blame him for being on some bad teams, but he certainly the fact that he went to Dallas and they immediately missed the playoffs to me, like I said, I think he's talented. He could do some things for sure. And the idea I liked when Dallas picked him up because it's like, oh, nice. He'll be a pick and roll partner for Luka. He can do pick and pop. He's a dynamic offensive player, even though the defensive stuff is a little bit and maybe the Lakers will have some defensive infrastructure to kind of cover up for that with Anthony Davis if he ever gets a chance to play minutes with him. But I'm still just skeptical, and I know that they said that he's probably going to have to come off the bench. I would imagine that's the case because Anthony Davis is going to play center next year, and Wood will also play center, so I'm not sure how much those two are actually going to end up playing together. You do have Jared Vanderbilt as well that might complement him kind of well in that regard, but my whole thing here is it just feels like this guy will never be what his stats are. It feels like he always will put up empty numbers. It feels like he will always be the guy that, we just got to get him on the right team in the right context. And like, he's 27 now. Like, this is really the last shot for him. Obviously was on those bad, horrible Rockets teams when they were the worst team in the league. He was on that terrible Pistons team when he had his breakout, when they were like, I think the worst team in the league. And then he had one season in Dallas, and, that was kind of a disaster year for Dallas. But, he's never made he's never played a minute in the playoffs, which is hard to believe for a guy who's been in the league for almost 10 years.
That's crazy. I think of him as being like 5 years in the league, but damn, he really has been here for like 10 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he was drafted in 2015. He technically wasn't drafted, but he was undrafted due to character issues. And these are the kind of guys that I'm talking about. It does seem like he at least rebounded in some capacity from the pre-draft character concerns, but it does rear its head every once in a while. But the Christian Wood is the kind of guy that I'm talking about when you're comparing him to the guys that we talked about earlier, like Blake Griffin and Danny Green. Christian Wood will not accept a role on a team. Like, he thinks very highly of himself because he is able to score 20 and 10. And because he is a talented offensive player, that can actually be damaging despite the fact that he has the ability to be pretty good on any given night.
I'm starting to think this is the Lakers trying to do what I call the DeAndre Jordan maneuver, where you try to build a guy's MVP case by making the on-offs just like insane. So like this is like their way of getting Anthony Davis some like cheap on-offs here, like because they're just going to get outscored every time Christian Wood comes in off the bench. But it's camouflaged a little bit because he's still going to probably, coming off the bench for LA, he'll probably, average like 14 and like 7 or something like that.
I was going to say he's going to be 100. He'll be a top 5-6 man of the year candidate again.
Yeah.
Because one, he has the Lakers boost. He has the media bump. And two, because he's going to be Anthony Davis's backup.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, hey, good. Honestly, I kind of like it for the Lakers. Like, like especially like at this point in his career where you're getting him on a veteran's minimum, like there's gonna be
the value is good.
Yeah. So like, I think it'll be good. Does it change the Lakers title fortunes much? No, but I think it does get you some like innings eating for Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think that's a good thing.
Miss some games.
Yeah, he'll miss some games, and like I think you can plug Christian Wood in there, and like he'll get his empty stats and kind of buoy. Lakers fans can cheer and clap and ooh and ah and whatever else Lakers fans do when he gets his little points. So I think it's a fine move. I'm with you. I don't see it necessarily shifting the power dynamics or anything in the West, but fine move, pretty good value for the Lakers, and I think it'll help them. As a 9th, 10th man road, doesn't do anything for their playoff equity, but I think it will help them get through the regular season, and that's important to a team like LA that is kind of thin and doesn't have a lot of these guys. So
yeah, I do think the fact that the one thing that I like beyond just like the other teams that acquired him, the Rockets gave up a 1st-round pick to get him. The Mavericks gave up a 1st-round pick to get him, and they were both paying him like $13-14 million per year. Getting him on a complete veterans minimum, $3 million. I mean, this was the last roster spot. You're not going to get much better from just a pure, like you said, a guy who can eat innings in the regular season than Christian Wood. But also, the fact is they at least have some versatility options with the backup center position if Anthony Davis plays or if he misses time, because now you have AD at the 5 as your mainstay. You can go small with Jared Vanderbilt at the 5 if you want, and LeBron at the 4. You can go, you can put Jackson Hayes in, who is more of a lob threat, rim protecting guy. And then you have the Christian Wood option, which is the offensive first, kind of basically a diet Anthony Davis type with horrible defense. But that's really kind of the thing here, is they at least have options at the backup center position with the Lakers.
Thinking about Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes having an awful off like Zoolander. Zoolander and Hansel, saying who could be meaner to their teammates.
Yeah, I mean, this is a move that I don't know if you saw Richard Sherman earlier comparing it to.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Skip Bayless' show is off to a fantastic start. Richard Sherman saying, look, Pau Gasol was a guy who could get you 18 and 10. Christian Wood, the same thing.
Hey, is he wrong? Show me the lie. Yeah. Show me the lie.
And the question that he said back was, I just don't understand how the Lakers got him for the veterans minimum. And it's like, Christian Wood has a reputation. That's kind of like, they said, oh, it's because it's the Lakers. And it's like, no, I don't really think players are bending over backwards to go to the Lakers, get a veterans minimum, and pay California state taxes on that veterans minimum. I think he really had no options. I think he probably had a few offers from veterans minimums from other teams, and figured maybe I could do the Malik Monk thing. Maybe I can do the boost my profile, even what they did with other guys recently with Rui Hashimura, and like those guys all ended up getting paid. And maybe a year from now, he opts out of his contract and gets paid by another team. But I mean, I'm kind of beyond seeing Christian Wood as anything more than just like kind of a, like you said, a minutes innings eater type guy. But it's totally fine for what it is. I'm sure people are going to overhype the shit out of this signing because it is the Lakers, but at the end of the day, maybe they can save another career like they've done a few different times. Yeah.
So, I mean, fine work by I think it's fine work for everyone. I think it makes sense for everyone. I also just don't think it's particularly newsworthy, but hey, everything's newsworthy this time of year. So I
was going to say, we don't have anything going on. We're in the dead of, it's basically just this and FIBA right now, which I will be streaming for this FIBA semifinals on Friday. If you want to tune in for that, be waking up early.
I'm personally offended, though, Trill, that you said that there wasn't anything else going on when the true power dynamic world shifting signing happened while you were out on vacation.
That's right.
Of course, talking about my beautiful Boston Celtics salvaging the offseason with a fucking coup to bring the king, Svi Mykhailiuk, to Boston. Championship's back on. I'm back in. Let's go.
What's really funny about the Svi Mykhailiuk signing is that the only thing that I heard, similar to the Danny Green signing when the Sixers signed him, the only thing I heard was that like teams in Europe were interested in him, and it was kind of a foregone conclusion to me that he was just going to go back to Europe and play there.
Not yet. He said, "Job's not finished." Job's not finished.
He's an amazing thing. I didn't realize he was only 26.
Yeah, he's pretty young.
Which is funny because how many teams has he played for?
Gotta be 5. It's gotta be 5.
Let's see. We have Detroit, the Lakers. He actually started his career with the Lakers.
That's kind of crazy. I don't remember that. Didn't he play for the Hornets?
He played for the Hornets this past season.
Spurs, I think.
He never played for the Spurs. He played for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was traded for Hamidou Diallo a few years ago. I remember that was a Troy Weaver special. Who actually turned out to be a rotation player, which is funny. And then the Toronto Raptors, and briefly he played for the New York Knicks. So he has played for 6 teams: Detroit, Toronto, LA, Oklahoma City, Charlotte, and New York.
That's like 7,
this will be a 7th team, and his rookie season was 2018, 2019.
God, That's more than one a season. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So he's here. It's time to finish this. It's time to finish the business. I like the signing. I mean, I don't know. Like I think it's good Sam Hauser insurance. The Celtics are gonna be hurting for shooting. So especially on the wings. So our two worst shooters last year were our two stars. So I think that getting bringing him in. I mean, in the playoffs, I should say. I mean, Marcus Smart had a really bad regular season year, but I don't count that. So, Marcus Smart's gone. Grant Williams is gone, who was a lockdown. Did you know I was looking at something? Do you know how many of the top 8 players in true shooting percentage the Celtics had for the playoffs last year? So you have everyone in the playoffs. So you have the true shooting percentages. How many Celtics were in the top 8?
I'm going to assume it was like 3 or 4.
It was 3. It was 3, which is
what was
wild.
Al Horford, Grant Williams.
Al Horford was one of the worst in the
NBA
wow last year. That's kind of why we lost. He shot like 30% from 3.
So what was it? Grant Williams, Brogdon, and
not even Brogdon. Brogdon was pretty bad too.
Derek White.
It was Derek White. Rob Williams obviously was number 1.
Sure.
And then Grant was like 8. So
that's Missoula ball for you. If a guy is hitting his threes, it's going to at least inflate that true shooting percentage in some capacity. I mean, the thing about the Svi signing was, I was like, well, they're definitely going to be shooting a lot of threes again.
Yeah.
They have 100% leaned into this because Svi might not have a ton of other NBA skills. He's going to put up threes. Like he averages 3.7 threes per game in his career, but he only plays 16 minutes a game. So that's 7 per 36, 8 per 36.
This Celtics team is gonna look like the Rockets if James Harden was spread out across 2 or 3 players. It's gonna be so. It's gonna be such disgusting NBA basketball. I mean, if we win a lot of games, I'll survive. But God, it's gonna be unappealing. I would not put the Celtics on your League Pass rankings this year. It's not going to be pleasant basketball to watch.
You're turning into a boomer hating the 3-point shot.
I hate isolation ball. I'm the opposite of a boomer. I want the Spurs beautiful game. We're not going to have that anymore. It's going to be Jason Tatum pounding the rock into the dirt, driving and kicking once, and then somebody shooting a semi-open 3 with 0.6 of a second left because it took 24 seconds to get that far in the possession.
And guess what? If the Heat don't trade for Damian Lillard, you'll probably still be the favorites in the Eastern Conference.
I know.
That was something that Zach Lowe talked about. I don't know if you listened to the most recent episodes because Zach.
I saw Celtics fans were pissed, but I saw it was him and Bobby, and I was like, ugh.
Oh, I didn't hear the Celtics part. I didn't get that far, but someone was saying in the Discord that he thinks that there was some implication that Zach gave about Drew Holiday potentially not signing an extension and him, Middleton, and Giannis all expiring at the same time, and that there might be something going on with the Bucks behind the scenes, which I thought was an interesting take. I think that Giannis extension just comes down to, are we contenders? Are we making it to the finals of the conference finals? Sure, I'll sign the extension, but if not, no. But what he brought up was a good point about the Sixers. Well, first off, he talked about the fact that the ownership group is been the one common theme with all these disasters that keep happening with the Sixers over the last decade. And then on top of that, he basically said, I would understand if you were a Sixers fan and you were really mad, because look at the rest of the Eastern Conference. You have, Boston's probably going to be the favorite, but Boston has a bunch of injury and age question marks. Miami still has not traded for Damian Lillard, and the Bucks are good, but they're getting older. And the only other team that I think can realistically win the conference is Cleveland. And in the middle of all
that's a hell of a jump. They won 1 playoff game last year.
I mean, who else can you talk yourself into? The Knicks?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can talk yourself into anyone else. I mean,
that's an outside shot. That's the Cavs get hot from 3 at the right time, and Evan Mobley and Darius Garland take another leap. That's their path.
Yeah, it's I think Miami. I do think Miami is essentially. I think the jig's up for Miami.
If they don't get Dame, I don't know what else. They didn't do anything.
They lost a lot of guys. They lost Gabe Vincent. They lost like 3 rotation players.
Yeah. And now they'll have to rely more on Duncan Robinson, who, as we know in the regular season at least, he's a 16-game player apparently.
Yeah, and just Jimmy can't play that much. And like with those guys, they barely made it into the playoffs last year. Like they might not make the playoffs. Like if they, as we've seen, if they make the playoffs, they're very dangerous. But like, I don't know.
It's not a guarantee. I think the East is as few favorites as there are. The parity's like out of control, dude. There are going to be teams that were legit just like comfy in the playoffs last year, like the Sixers, maybe the Knicks or the Cavs, that could be lower in the play-in race next year.
Yeah, I think we're heading for the. I don't know. I said in the chat today, like I've already resigned myself to, the Celtics, this is a hot number 1 seed. They're going to be amazing. And then it's like, when it takes them 6 games to beat the Magic, everyone's like, what's going on here? And then, round 2, against Cleveland, or no, you're up against the Bucks with Middleton and Giannis and Drew hurt, and it still takes 7 games. And it's just like the ugliest fucking rock fight series you've ever seen in your life. And then they somehow get like back to Miami, and it's like, well, they just got to hit their threes, and the Celtics will shoot 30%, and like Porzingis will snap his ankle in game 2. Like I'm telling you right now, like the Celtics might make the finals, but it will take them 20 games to make the finals.
I was going to say new Doc Rivers just dropped.
Yeah. Like they really are going to like, they do it as hard as possible because, again, you run off your best player, and just like Jason Tatum is not a step on the throat type of guy. He is a, high average type guy. He's going to have amazing games. He's going to have real fucking stinkers. And it's just, your series is going to be long and drawn out when your guy is not locked in and, awesome every game, when you don't have those like just unreal performances every night in, night out. So.
But it's also like kind of what Star does now. Like Joel is not the same player in the playoffs. Jimmy is, when his highs are incredible. He can do a 58 and 8 game, but then he can also have a 12 point. Like Giannis is the closest thing, and Giannis is like the Bucks are old, and Giannis still has some stinkers in the playoffs. I think really offensively, it's like Jokic is like the only one that kind of consistently has done it in the playoffs over the last few years. Steph too. I mean, Steph had a bad series against the Lakers, and the numbers still look pretty good. Like,
I was gonna say, like he's still, I still don't know what happened in that. Also
the Steph thing is like, Steph missed his shots, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Like the whole defense is still scrambling the entire game to slow down Steph. Like it's not just like you can't just be like, okay, Steph shot 25% from the field. He could have a positive impact on a game.
Yeah. It's going to be, I mean, hey, honestly, all it might take for the Celtics is just like, if Miami just doesn't make the playoffs, that just might be an automatic finals berth right there, because that's been the issue. The pretty much this entire run is just Eric Spoelstra has had the Celtics number this whole time. So, maybe it's as simple as that. So,
well, if they don't get Damian Lillard, I kind of thought it was a foregone conclusion at some point, but like, I really don't know if it is anymore. Like maybe it's just because we've had too much time to sit on it, and these guys do eventually get where they want to go at some point in the season. But like, what would it take? Like if the Blazers suck, does it matter? They don't want to, like, they're not trying to win a title. Like I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine if Dame isn't willing to sit out, that there's any pressure that could be applied that will get him to Miami to make them the favorites.
I think it's going the other way. I think they're putting, I think they're giving up Caleb Martin or something. Well, whatever the sticking point is right now, I think Miami's going to have to be the one that, changes the calculus here. So
Kelly Oubre is signing. I'm like, who are they're going to have to sign guys, because it's going to have to be like a 4-for-1 trade.
Yeah.
I guess they do have the Kyle Lowry or the Tyler Hero contract to make the money really like line up, so they only have to give up like 3 players or whatever. But once again, the Blazers are going to want more.
Yeah, as
we've talked about time and time again. And Windhorst is on the Hoop Collective like gassing up Nikola Jovic.
That might signal that the trade might be dead right there. Like
I don't know if you've seen this guy play. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think Nikola, like, even if you like Nikola Jovic, it's Damian Lillard. I don't think that they're like dying to
Heat people. The Heat people are in deep with the fucking the ESPN media, all the ESPN people. Pat Riley must just have like a fucking them on payroll at a certain point. That's how you win the
get me Windhorst.
That's how you make
tell him
the
Jovic.
Yeah, Jovic is the good one. Let me tell you right now.
I just looked it up. Okay. Yesterday in the Serbia-Lithuania game, which Lithuania did beat America in the World Cup. Jovic had 8 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds. So
yeah, okay.
Awesome.
We're so back.
Miami Heat executive marvels at Nikola Jovic's FIBA World Cup performances.
That's so true. That's so true.
I'm always marveling at my guy that I'm trying to trade.
We're so marveled right now. Let's go.
We might be a really important part of their team next year.
Oh, man.
It is amazing to me how many. Meanwhile, okay, so I just want to tell you, Nikola Jovic in 21 minutes yesterday versus Lithuania. By the way, keep in mind, I have not been watching non-USA World Cup games.
Mm-hmm.
Nikola Jovic, 8-2-2 in 21 minutes. Meanwhile, up-and-comer, potential superstar prospect, Filip Petrusev, Philadelphia 76ers, in 17 minutes had 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. So you tell me who's the better prospect. And yes, Petrusev is like 5 years older than Jovic.
So true.
So Springer, Tobias, Petrusev for Dame. Put it on the table, baby.
Maybe he's going. That would be crazy if you guys actually got Dame, like backdoor Dame out of the thing. That would be so.
We'd have to give up Maxey. It's not worth it. It's just not like at this point. If they were genuinely interested, we would have heard leaks and we would have heard whatever. Like, I don't know. Well, to be clear, it probably would be worth it to maximize the championship window to trade Maxey for Dame, but you'd also have to nail the Harden trade. Like you'd have to get legit depth back in the Harden trade, not just like, hey, we got one player. Like you'd have to get like 2 rotation players to have a good enough team around Dame and Embiid to kind of still, contend. Because you'd have to give up Tobias and Maxey to make the contract work, basically.
What if Harden, like the Grinch, his heart grew 3 sizes when he saw Dame? He's like, wow, we've got a SoundCloud rapper on the team. Now I'm ready to go to work. Like
Dame's like, I will go to the Sixers, but only if they keep Harden so I can hang out with Lil Baby. Travis Scott, I need features on my next album. Travis Scott and Lil Baby.
Like they're all like moving to the other end of like the couch because Dame keeps like putting his single. Like, oh Jesus Christ, man! Hey, do you guys want to get out of here? Yeah, I'll come with you guys. No, you're good.
Dame's like
comfortable.
Mr. Baby, I have some lyrics that I would like to show you. Grinded all my life. They call me Coffee Bean. I'm off the lean.
Oh no. Oh, I really hate that. I gotta say, I really hate that.
Just made that up off the top of my head. That's on Dave's next album, though. Believe me.
Yeah. Oof, God, that's rough. That's pretty upset.
Pretty tough. Shout out to Dame though, dude. Now in Portland, they don't have to pretend they like your rap music anymore. So his career, I would imagine the new album didn't get as many streams because he doesn't have a few 100,000 people, pretending to enjoy his albums anymore.
Miami.
Yeah.
Dame said he wants to get traded to Miami so he can go to the spot where XXXTentacion passed away and pay his respects.
I thought you were going to say he wanted to collab with Pitbull.
That too.
Mr. 305.
Pitbull could save Dame's music career, yeah. I feel like. Yeah.
Rick Ross signs Dame to MMG.
No. I was gonna say that would be really funny if there was like a bidding war behind the scenes of like the proxies of like teams, like who does Birdman and like Cash Money, like who would they like
The
be backing?
Pelicans?
The Pelicans, I guess.
He's from New Orleans, I think.
Yeah,
because that's where Lil Wayne's from.
Lil Wayne's from Louisiana.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say maybe they you get into these like proxy wars where you bring in labels to kind of
that's the next
feel the
frontier.
Yeah.
The next frontier is okay, we're going to recruit guys using labels. And then the next frontier after that is podcast studios, like buying up like Underdog influencing someone to sign their next Supermax contract somewhere.
Who would the Akon convict label? Who would they? Because that's Lady Gaga too. People forget.
He signed Lady Gaga?
He signed Lady Gaga. I'm almost positive.
Wow.
Which just
I forgot. I always forget. Do you ever see Akon's interviews where he just like lies? He's like a compulsive liar, but they're like funny lies. They're not like harmful lies. He's like he was talking about. I can't remember what he was talking about. A part of because he does a lot of like initiatives in Africa apparently, and I have not looked into this at all. It could be bad. I'm not saying it's good or not.
I also just think I lied about Lady Gaga being signed to Convict.
He did discover someone.
I think maybe he discovered her and just didn't sign her. But there's definitely a connection.
No, it's a thing. Sign Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Okay. So who did he sign her to? Because she's
Akon says Lady Gaga pretty much retired me after signing a record deal with the pop superstar. Yeah.
So. Why is she
signed
not listed under
notable?
4 years. At the convict music, and she's not on the notable form.
Yeah, but she was signed from 2010 to 2014 in the prime of her career.
That's what I'm saying, though. But why is she not listed on the Wikipedia? They got Colby O'Donis and Jeffree Star on here, but
maybe Jeffree Star, isn't that like the YouTuber that everyone canceled?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah, he was signed.
Well, maybe she didn't want to be associated with Jeffree Star.
Yeah, maybe that's why. That's crazy. Why is she scrubbed?
Probably because she signed to the major label, is my guess. So I'm imagining we're an hour and 11 in, and we're doing convict music history here. I'm imagining the convict music is a subsidiary of a major label, and he probably, instead of signing her to his little subsidiary, probably signed her to the introduced her to Interscope or one of those Atlantic or one of those major labels because she would be bigger than he knew she was going to be like a mega pop star.
Yeah, so she was signed to Con Live as
there you go.
As player. So
spin-off
convict music, yeah.
Because she doesn't do hip hop.
Right.
Or
so that was also
Colby
O'Donis and Jeffree Star were on this one, but that is Cardinal.
Does Jeffree Star do hip hop or
I don't know. He's on a little bit of everything, but
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's bring it back.
Fame Monster and Born This Way, all on
that's
Con Live. Yeah, but that's and that's a subsidiary of Interscope. Yeah.
No, Art Pop was on until 2013. Was on that was on Interscope. Yeah. But she might have been off of that label. But either way, Akon got very rich off of that. But no, he loves to go. Akon loves to go on podcasts. I saw a clip that was going around of him. And he was like talking about, he was talking about the Congo, where I think Serge Ibaka's from the Congo, if I remember correctly. And he was talking about how he's
electricity.
No, not the electricity thing. No,
okay.
this was he was talking about how people there will fight gorillas, like, and they were like, and people were like, gorillas are like 1,000 pounds, dude. They're like massive. What are you talking about? He was just lying, and he was like so enthusiastic about the lie, dude.
It's like that's just not something that like happens. There's
you can't fight a gorilla.
No, there's only one group of people who will like mess with animals that large, and it's the Russians, and they aren't fighting the bears. They're just like bringing them in the house, like
boys with them.
Yeah, just bringing them in the house. That's so funny. That's speaking of funny lies, man. Like God, it's awesome.
Have you ever seen the woman on TikTok who has like the bear friend that just like shows up, and she's like, "Shut the door behind you," and he's like in her house. I'm like, this is like my greatest nightmare, and you're just flexing it on TikTok right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say this feels like we're just watching a Werner Herzog movie like unfold in real time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Grizzly Woman.
Yeah. So this TikTok, you do not want to hear it. It is very ghastly. What they did, what the bear did to this woman. When she was mauled, she had the Wreck-It Ralph audio video on. Her screams are that of the oaf John C. Reilly. It is too disgusting for you to hear. You do not want to hear your wife this way. I am making a decision not to play this tape for you. Thank you, Werner.
Amazing. I loved your work Into the Abyss.
Oh God, off-season pods, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Shout out to him though, dude. Seriously. Yeah, I'm sure that movie probably convinced a lot of people to be anti-death penalty. So good for him.
Yeah. Werner's the GOAT, man. He's a king. Yeah.
Similar to like how everyone's consciousness is being raised by Barbie right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All these people are like becoming aware of how terrible things are for women. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as Into the Abyss for the death penalty. Yeah. Made everyone aware, mm-hmm. Raise the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Not quite as much money made on that one, but
yeah, it's true.
A little bit. A little difference.
Not $1 billion,
Hey, let's get back into the slop.
Okay. We're back.
We're back, baby. Okay. So PJ Washington, we never talked about PJ Washington going back to the Hornets. So I figured we might as well circle around on this one. Did you see the press conference yesterday when he said, I always wanted to be in Charlotte, and Mitch Kupchak was doing the press conference with him, and he was like, that's not what your agent said.
That's funny. Respect to Mitch, man. Mitch is a real one.
I can't believe he's still working. Like at this, like,
yeah,
he's got to be. Wasn't he working for the Lakers in like the 80s?
Respect to him, and like God, like it's like how LeBron has played like 40 NBA seasons because of all the playoff games he's played. Like sure. Mitch Kupchak, like every season in the front office of Charlotte is worth like 3.
Yeah, seriously.
Every other front, and he's had that job for like what, 5 years now, 6 years, like
yeah.
That's a long time.
I looked it up. He played for the Lakers in the 80s, but he retired in 86 and became the assistant general manager under Jerry West for the Lakers in the 80s. So, yeah. So he has been in a front office since 1986 and he's 69 years old. Nice. And he still is like powering through. Michael Jordan has left the Hornets. That was why he got the job, because he was friends with Michael Jordan.
That's funny.
And he has left, and he is still the general manager there. Good for him. After winning, he won 3 NBA titles as a player, and then he technically has 7 NBA championships, and he's like, yeah, I want to be the general manager of the Charlotte Hornets.
It's like, an Alexander wept for there were no more lands to conquer. This is the last land to conquer.
Yeah, Charlotte.
As I say, that's a flex. If you can get the Hornets a title, that is a big time flex. So
absolutely, yeah. So
it's like Theo Epstein going from the Red Sox to the Cubs to win the World Series. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's his Uncle Jeff.
Damn it. I was trying to work something in there.
Yeah. Uncle Jeff was not invited to any of the festivities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Theo, for being respectful.
Yeah.
So PJ Washington re-signed with the Hornets after the longest wait that we got for any free agent that was notable. Other than Christian Wood, I guess. But he signed a 3-year, $46 million deal. So that is an average of $15.5 million over the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then he can test free agency again in a few years. I mean, I expected him to get a little bit more than $15 million per year, but I guess it's a good deal for the Hornets.
Yeah.
It's a fine deal for him just because he can get back out on the free agency market again in a few years.
Yeah.
And if his goal is to get out of Charlotte as quick as possible, this was the best way of going about it without taking the qualifying offer. So good for PJ, probably better for the Hornets. And yeah, solid move overall.
Yeah, no, good for everybody. I hope the Hornets get a little bit of better luck, and I hope Miles Bridges isn't on their team much longer. But
he took the qualifying offer, so he'll probably be gone in a year. Whereas it's probably better that you have PJ Washington around instead of
So good.
Bridges.
Yeah, better forward to have for your team, I would say. So.
And I do just want to shout out to in the Uniball Discord, we do have a Hornets fan who is in there. Hold on one second.
It's like someone who speaks Latin.
It's hard to come by.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a child who was raised entirely on Latin. They have to be homeschooled, and something horrible had to have happened to them at some point. End up being a Hornets fan, but.
His name is Closeted Hornets Fan in the Discord because he is not very proud of being a Hornets fan. He pretended to be a Sixers fan, and he is really a Hornets fan. But he wanted to comment on our last episode when we ranked all of the front offices, and he's like, you summed it up pretty nicely when you said you didn't really have any strong feelings on the Hornets front office, but. We did overlook them signing the Gordon Hayward contract, the Terry Rozier extension, which hasn't looked great so far.
I would push back on that. I think the Terry Rozier extension's fine, to be honest.
He makes $20 million a year.
$20 million a year, like he's an NBA starter. He's like he's not a very efficient player, you know what I'm saying? But he's like an innings eater, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like I would trade
for what Charlotte's
contract.
Building, though. It's kind of a weird.
I mean, it's a little weird with LaMelo Ball, but didn't that happen before they drafted LaMelo Ball?
They extended him after though, because they remember he wasn't looking at the initial trade, which he was fine with, and the contract. He was talking about this latest extension that he got like a year ago, where he got I think he got like a 3-year, $60 million extension. Which honestly, how old is Terry?
He was drafted in 2015, and I think he was 20 then. Like he was a little older. I think he was a sophomore that draft. So I want to say he was.
Yeah, no. I just looked it up. This contract is not good, dude. He 21 million last year, 23 million this year, 24 million, and then 26 million. It's not very.
That's fine.
That's not a good deal for Terry Rozier.
It's not a good deal, but it's not a bad deal.
It's an overpay to keep him in Charlotte, but like, why? I don't know. Why overpay to keep a guy in Charlotte when, like, what's your direction is essentially his point.
Wait, when Terry Rozier is making that money on the Milwaukee Bucks, Nihilist is going to be so happy.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too. Like, I think that would be great for them.
So Bobby Portis and Grayson Allen at the deadline for Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
Although I guess the Bucks are just trying to get younger, like young. Like they need to like not get like well, getting 29-year-old Terry Rozier would make them younger, to be clear. Other than the Sixers, they're like the oldest team in the league.
He's the same age as Giannis, though. Like I think.
Yeah, no, they're the same age. Yeah. I think Giannis is like 28, 29. But yeah. So they had the Hayward contract, the Rozier extension. Also, obviously Oubre's gone now, but they signed Oubre to a 2-year, $30 million deal. Not great. They picked Brandon Miller over Scoot. Not great.
That's like one of the worst ones. We talked about that though. We
did briefly.
Yeah.
But this PJ Washington move is a positive compared to PJ Washington. I think PJ Washington's like a starting level guy, and he's making considerably less than what starters are going to make moving forward for the next few years. So that's a good deal from the Hornets perspective. But yeah, we probably should have put them in DRF, to be fair. I mean, like, other than the LaMelo Ball pick, they really haven't had any like great moves.
No, but we talked about this.
They drafted Williams somewhat
Nick
well.
Richards, Mark Williams.
Mark Williams,
yeah. Nick Richards is good. Like, honestly, I mean, he's a bad guy, but the Miles Bridges pick was very good.
Yes.
like at the time, like in terms of like the quality return, like
Sure.
Is it their fault? I mean, like I guess character concerns or something like that. Like, is it that he's a horrible guy? Because that's really what's really submarined them is him being an awful guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I stand by C tier. Like, think about like what Troy Weaver has done to the like the F tier and like what like the Gobert trade and like what's going on. Like they're nowhere near F tier, maybe D tier, but I don't know. I feel pretty comfortable with C tier for them still.
I feel like you could argue D tier. The LaMelo pick really saves a lot of it because when he has been healthy, they've been close to 500, and like that's good for their history.
Yeah,
like their history is largely being bad. Like their history, I guess their history is largely being mediocre, to be honest, because they haven't really had a ton of like top picks. I feel like it's always like they have like the 5th to 9th pick in the draft.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, or when they do get the 4th pick, they're drafting Cody Zeller.
Yeah, Cody Zeller and
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
Yeah, I was good. Those are the only those 2 picks in the LaMelo pick are the only picks I can think of at the top of the draft. Although was Malik Monk the 5th pick or 6th pick?
No, he was like 9th.
Yeah, he was 9th, so that was lower.
He was very low. Maybe he wasn't literally 9th.
Kemba was lower.
He was low.
Yeah.
I mean,
so yeah, I guess the more I think about it, this kind of has been their history, but with LaMelo, they've been like more like in the 10 to 14 range in the lottery, like when they took James Bouknight and Mark Williams and guys.
Yeah, I mean James Bouknight. That's
a tough one.
That's probably the biggest, worst pick they've made. So here we go. And then Noah Vonleh when they picked 9th in 2014. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's a tough one. Frank Kaminsky at 9. I forgot about that.
But that's the range that they were always in. It was always like 5 to 9.
I mean, yeah, Frank Kaminsky. I mean, that was also a bad draft. Like the bad thing there is they didn't do the Danny Ainge deal. Like they didn't strangle the sleeping Celtics giant in the crib. That's a great NBA what if. What if Michael Jordan says Jason Tatum?
Why would you ever say no to that?
I don't know. They thought Danny Ainge,
such a bad draft.
They were too scared of Danny Ainge. They were like, Danny Ainge doesn't make mistakes. There's no way this is like stupid.
3 or 4 first round picks for the pick that would have become Justice Winslow. Like how?
One it was either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum essentially was in that thing. I mean, knowing the Hornets, they would have just drafted
Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz. But
we talked about this before.
Yeah. But oh my God. Do you know who was technically their 2018 pick?
Who? Oh, Shea.
It was Shea.
Yeah, they traded for Miles Bridges.
They traded up for Miles Bridges. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, so even the Miles Bridges pick isn't that good.
Yep.
They put that.
If I remember correctly, I think on the Ringer draft stream, they thought that they took Shea, and like the guy who was there that was a Hornets fan, it was one of Titus, I think, or Tate, whichever one.
Yeah, it's Tate Frazier, I think. Yeah.
And he was like, he was pumped about getting Shea, and then they took Miles Bridges, and he was also excited about it because Miles Bridges was a good college player.
Yeah,
but I mean, even the people that were like Shea sickos during the draft, I remember reading an article pre-draft because I didn't know much about him, to be completely honest. I wanted Mikal Bridges and that was it. Like he was like the guy that I wanted for the Sixers because of what we were building. He's from Villanova, made total sense. He was a little bit older. He could be plug and play. But I remember reading an article that was like from one of these like draft guys, and he was like, the guy I think could sneaky be an all-star at some point in his career is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, more so than Mikal Bridges. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So if we take him, I won't be too mad. And he's turned into an MVP candidate. Like, I don't think anyone saw Shea. Like, even the highest of Shea people weren't like, he's going to be one of the 10 best players in the NBA. And destroy it in like FIBA.
Yeah, man. There's so many. I'm really enjoying looking through the Charlotte draft history because like there's also Baron Davis at 3 in 1999.
Good pick, yeah.
Yep. Number 2 in 2004, Emeka Okafor after The Magic Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Raymond Felton at 5 in 2005, which is very interesting.
And who was the pick before that? Chris Paul?
Yes.
Yep.
Chris Paul, which is tough. Yeah. Darren Williams and Chris Paul go 3-4.
Yep.
1.
They were always 1 or 2 picks off. It was like the reverse of the Portland Trailblazers, where if the Portland Trailblazers passed on you, you were going to be incredible, like Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant.
Right.
It was just 1 pick shy, and it was like you could have gotten. And Chris Paul was from Wake Forest. He played school. He played ball right there.
2006 NBA draft, number 3 overall. Who did the Charlotte Bobcats take?
Adam Morrison.
Adam Morrison. Yep. Right after LaMarcus Aldridge. So there you go. Like,
so fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Who was the pick after Adam Morrison?
Tyus Thomas.
Oh, okay. Another.
Yeah. And then
that was the trade.
Williams.
That was the trade on draft night because the Bulls originally drafted LaMarcus Aldridge and traded him for Tyus Thomas.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's so tough.
Another
and
tough.
Then Sheldon Williams at 5, but Brandon Roy at 6.
That was such a great draft for the fucking Blazers, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The fact that Roy's career just got completely fucked, that's just sucks. Like they got 2 all-star fringe all NBA guys in one draft. And it just bombed for them.
This is kind of despite it being like kind of thin in the middle, this is like a strangely top heavy draft. So you got LaMarcus Aldridge and Brandon Roy 2 and 6, but then down bottom you have Rajon Rondo 21, Kyle Lowry 24, and all the way down at 47, Paul Millsap.
Yeah, I remember looking at that. That's like if I remember correctly, other than LeBron being from LeBron's draft, I think that's the only draft left that has like a few guys in the NBA still.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. The next one's 2007 because Durant and Al Horford are still there, but I think everyone else is gone. No, Conley too. Conley's still around, but like Marcus Paul's done.
It's pretty much there's only like a few guys left from those few drafts. The Kyle Lowry one was I remember the Kyle Lowry one because I was a fan of Villanova at the time, and the big thing with Lowry was he's leaving school too early. He's making a mistake. He's leaving school too early. And for the first few years of his career, that looked kind of justified. People were like, oh, he left school too early. And then he turned into an all-star, like weirdly in his late 20s, which like never happens. But yeah, that was a big boomer line back in before guys just started leaving school, like the second they could. It was a big thing to say because I think Kyle Lowry played 2 years at Villanova, and everyone thought that was like a massive mistake, which is so funny because in retrospect, like if he played now, he would have just immediately left. He actually might have been a one and done. I'm looking it up now, but I think he played 2 years. Hold on.
I was gonna say I feel like he was a little older. I feel like it would have been 2 years.
2 years, but yeah, it was like people were like, "How could he leave after 2 years?" That's like he would have left after his freshman year if he were a modern player.
Once car salesman John Calipari got his hands on the league, like watch out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we love. Kyle's a great guy.
I feel like Trump would have been a great college football or college basketball.
Well, I always say Calipari is college Trump because he's filled that lane pretty nicely. Tyrese, he's a great kid. Yeah, he comes in. He's a great kid. We love him. Everyone loves him. Ask anyone. They love Tyrese.
Like, I think if Trump got a chance to see what like college recruiting would be like you get to hang out with all the handsome football. Like, he could be a great football recruiter. Like, he would love the handsome hamburger party. Like, you just
definitely
come on in, big boys.
One of the biggest guys we've ever seen.
You gotta play offensive line for Trump University. You gotta protect him. I'm not going to be conservative, though, because it's a crook. They're a crook. What they did to Michael Orr is terrible. I would never do that to you.
Michael Orr. I would never blindside you.
I would. You're going to be the blind side, but not the blind side. It'll be your own money. Somebody sent me, one of my friends sent me, because I said that I drafted Justin Jefferson in our draft. They sent me a clip from the White House visit, which I'd never seen before, of Trump turning around and saying, Justin Jefferson, and he lists off like his stats from like the season.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
need to
that's
see
great.
that.
It's really good. I'll send it to you after this. But and then at the end he goes over and shakes his hand. He goes back and he's like, "That's what money looks like. He's gonna make a lot of money."
He
Awesome.
was right. He
was
knew.
right. Yeah.
God,
Trump
if Howie
cut.
Roseman had only listened to Justin Jefferson and not taken Jalen Reagor instead.
Yeah.
Oof.
Trump, he should
Actually,
Trump better than Howie? Question mark.
I don't mean to offend you. The newest Patriot, Jalen Reagor, practice squad baby.
He's perfect to be on the Patriots because every Eagles player, wide receiver who's too bad to be on the Eagles now, they go to the Patriots where they're number one. Like I loved having Nelson Aguilar on.
I was just gonna say the number one. I remember there was a viral tweet from someone when the draft happened, and it was like it was talking about Jalen Reagor's like best attributes, and it was like straight line speed, like. I can't even remember, explosive, whatever. And then it just said Nelson Aguilar. And then someone tweeted and said, the greatest thing about Jalen Reagor is that he has defeated and become Nelson Aguilar.
He is Nelson Aguilar.
And sadly, he is not even as good as Nelson Aguilar. At least Nelson Aguilar is a starting-ish wide receiver in the NFL.
He was so bad for the Patriots last year, man. I can't tell you. I had that clip bookmarked of it's like it's when he was still with the Eagles, and it's someone in Philly after there's a fire.
Oh yeah,
and they're talking
Aguilar.
Yeah, as I say, they were throwing babies out the windows, and we were catching them. Unlike Aguilar, like looking at the camera and just rolling his eyes. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite. I would tweet that every time he would do something bozo. So anyway, Trump. We need to get Trump as
still won a Super Bowl with the Eagles though, and had 11 catches in the Super Bowl.
Is that true?
11 catches, yeah.
Was that that was the Big Dick Nick Super Bowl? He was on that team. Wow.
His numbers with Nick Foles were actually really good. His numbers with Wentz were not great, except for like a few games during that season. But I think he had like 11 catches for 95 yards. Like he had a bunch of those little like third down conversions were Nelson Aguilar. He didn't score a touchdown in the game, but
that's so funny, dude. I can't think of a Carson Wentz. The Carson Wentz being MVP and then the copy pasta of like defeating him over the course of time is like a real like portrait of Dorian Gray.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Yeah, like
it really is like that man who had 0 followers on Twitter that was essentially a bot that just tweeted.
That's one of my...
Foles is 24-6 in his last 30 starts. His teammates want Foles. That guy literally put that into existence. He ruined Carson Wentz's career.
Thank you for reminding me of this because I'm going to tweet that. I'm going to do the Mac Jones. I'm going to turn that into the Mac Jones copy pasta here.
They want Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, the people want. Oh, we want Cunningham. We don't. We're over it. God, do you ever think about how Lamar Jackson could be on the Patriots? Different timeline where everyone's.
Well, I thought about how the Eagles could have got Lamar Jackson, but we had just won the Super Bowl, so it was kind of hard to sell. Like we had to wait 2 years to be like, all right, let's draft someone else.
I was gonna say, like Tom Brady was like on his way out the door. Like it was the obvious time to like draft the new franchise quarterback, and he was right there. And
was Lamar technically? No, he was the last pick in the first round because the Eagles traded the pick for it, and the Ravens traded up to get him, and they jumped ahead of the Giants, and I was very happy because I didn't want the Giants to get Lamar Jackson either.
Man.
We'll see. I feel like people are sleeping on Lamar because of the injuries the last 2 years. I feel like he's about to have a monster season.
They're going to be good. Bill, the fact that Bill loves the Steelers has never made me more sure that the Ravens are going to go 13-4.
Also, loving the Steelers. Like the Steelers are 500 every year. Like it's such a safe thing to love the Steelers. Like their floor is like going to be still like a winning record. Hasn't Tomlin never had a losing season?
Yeah, like he barely made it. Like he always barely makes it.
Yeah.
Like I think he was literally 8-1 last year.
He's a king. That's crazy. That team they've had some pretty mid teams. The fact that he's bad teams.
Mitch Trubisky is his quarterback, and he still went 8-1. That's pretty wild. So
yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
All right. So last thing here before we get out of here. Trey Murphy was sadly injured, and he's a guy that we've talked about a lot as a potential breakout player for this upcoming season. Really felt like he was about to take a leap, especially because you never know with the Pelicans' availability. This is a crazy stat from Andrew Lopez of The Athletic that our buddy Skeets from No Dunks tweeted.
Mm-hmm.
Since trading for CJ McCollum at the deadline in February 2022, CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson, and Brandon Ingram have played how many minutes together?
12?
No, it's more than 12 minutes.
I was going to say, that would be staggering. I'm going to guess
10
300.
games.
300?
172 minutes together.
That's so insane, man.
The Pelicans are cursed, dude.
Are they still like sharing like training staff with the Saints and like shit like that though? Because that's what I like being serious, because I think that like might be part of it, is just they have no infrastructure in that team. Doesn't it like all just owned by like a football widow who like
she doesn't
want it?
Yeah, and they have they can't. I don't even know. I honestly love New Orleans. I think it's an amazing city, and I apologize to anyone who's listening that is a Pelicans fan that lives in New Orleans.
Richard,
but they just don't. They don't care about basketball. Like it's such a football crazy place, and like it's just never. It's a small market. People don't really care about it there. I love New Orleans, and I think it's great that we have a team there. But I don't see basketball lasting there, and like. Maybe it is the resource thing, but I think it's probably, I think it's mostly just, it's just bad luck at this point. Like you have, like they've had multiple number 1 overall picks, and they've gotten the guy, like of the last 10 let's say 12 first overall picks, until Wembanyama, like got the guy who actually went first. Anthony Davis and Zion were the two most hyped prospects, because Luka went 3rd.
Yeah, Luka went 3rd, and then you'd have to go back to like Odin and Durant to get to that caliber of prospect.
Yeah,
like every time there was like a can't miss prospect like going number 1, it was after Durant and Odin. They were either drafted by the Pelicans or they were the Suns and Kings passing on Luka to make him go 3rd for some reason.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is like, imagine how bad your luck has to be to like, and honestly, like made out well from the AD trade. They've gotten so many picks. They've made some nice moves, and it just doesn't matter because their top guys can't stay healthy. And now Trey Murphy was supposed to be kind of the thing to supplement the fact that CJ McCollum was getting older and the fact that Brandon Ingram and Zion can't stay healthy. And then he tears his meniscus. So apparently they're being very careful with this. They're trying to see whether they can like avoid the full-on surgery. But if he has to get the surgery, I mean, Colin Sexton missed the entire season 2 years ago because of this. And we see the Rob Williams, Joel Embiid kind of meniscus injury when it comes to this, but he's evaluating surgical options now. So those two both avoided surgery, and it sounds like he's almost certainly going to have to get surgery. So next time I say, why don't the Pelicans just push in all their chips and make a star trade? This is why.
Yeah, man, dude, it's so brutal, man. I feel like they don't deserve this, man. Like, I'm just sad. It makes me sad. Like, honestly, I want to see it. Yeah. I want to see it go well for them.
Yeah, it sounds like he's definitely going to have to get surgery and probably miss, if not the whole season, the majority of the season. It's so brutal, dude. I mean, between Zion, Ingram, CJ, Trey Murphy, like they've just had so many they're going to have so many missed games once again. And I felt like I was kind of talking myself into them a little bit with Trey Murphy's potential leap this upcoming season if Zion could stay somewhat healthy. But now it's just like, I feel like you can't trust them at all. And that's just another thing that's like slowly creeping towards a Zion trade request. Like we're probably a year away from that. Like we already were talking about it this past offseason, losing Trey Murphy for, potentially the whole season, and having like CJ's like 33 now. Like it's going to be the Brandon Ingram show again if Zion can't stay healthy. And like Brandon Ingram's good, but that makes you a play-in team at best.
Yeah.
Which is
especially in the West, man. Like they might not make the playoffs again. That's a bummer. So
they're probably going to miss unless Zion actually can play games.
Yeah.
The West is so deep. There's just like, you have to pick a team to fall off because like the Mavericks are going to replace someone, and sure, there'll be some regression and stuff, but there are going to be so many good young teams.
Yeah, I think my picks would probably be like the Pelicans, and it's sad to say, I think the Kings are probably a pretty good regression candidate too.
Yeah.
So that's a
of all the
bummer. I don't want to
playoffs.
pick that. Yeah, I don't want to make that pick, but unfortunately, I think that's where it's going because I think the Thunder will be in there next year.
I'm almost certain that the Thunder are going to make the playoffs, and I'm almost certain the Mavs aren't going to miss again, at least the play-in. So if that's the case, then yeah, you got to have at least two, and maybe even more. We'll see as we get closer. We're only a few weeks away from our Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo predicting the over-unders.
Oh,
the return.
Wait, yeah. Oh, the return. Fuck yeah. Wait, when did they do that in October, right? Because I feel like it was around.
They do it in October. We do it at the end of September. That's what we did last year.
Yeah. All right. So we'll have to do the Bill and I was gonna say we'll have to get the lines, see how we do with Bill and Russillo, and see put the Lathe of Heaven powers to work here and see what we can get figured out.
Yeah, and we'll include in the next episode. We'll have to do for during the Patreon part. We'll have to do one of Bill's old articles that we didn't have a chance to get to today. But we need a return. I know some people have said they want a return of that series, and it's certainly one of my favorites. So
I'll find it. Don't worry, I'll find us another good one. I don't know if I'll find one as good as Bill talking about 9/11, but
we'll get there.
I'll find
relating it to the Boston Celtics somehow.
Yeah, I'll go to work on the Page 2 archives the second I get a chance.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think we're good. It's appreciate everyone coming out, and we're actually we're on the upslide now. We're real basketball is I think the teams are going to start reporting here in the next few weeks, so we're almost out of the woods now, and we're back in, and everyone, this is going to be a Joker season for me. So I'm telling you what's going to happen. The Celtics are going to win 67 games this year, and they're going to lose.
There's going to be a lot of high fives.
Yeah,
that was exactly 67.
Yeah, 67. Yeah. Oh my God, I feel like. Because that would cause me the maximum pain. Because what would happen is they'd be good enough that I'd be like, "Was I wrong about this team?"
1-8 versus the Heat in the first round.
I don't know.
The Bucks' fate.
Oh my God, dude!
I don't think that can happen again. Not because I know that Miami has the devil magic, but just because it's those kind of things don't happen twice. But it is Miami.
It is Miami. I think it's more like they're going to play like the Magic. The Magic are going to take them to 7. And everyone's going to be like, what the fuck is happening? like it's going to be something. It's going to be like a new thing. I don't know. If they don't trade for a Dame, I think Miami's dead. So,
yeah.
But we'll see.
So can't wait. Rate us on iTunes, Spotify, 5 stars on there. Like this video if you're still watching on YouTube somehow. And all that good shit. Also sign up for the Patreon so I can buy an Xbox or a PlayStation so that I can start streaming on Twitch.
I was gonna say we've got our the video game episode. The video game episode with Trill is coming, folks. We're
get it.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna turn Trill into a video game head.
We're inching slower and slower to that.
Yeah. It's coming. It's getting there.